You're tuned into Life is a Sacred Journey. Every week, we bring a new perspective to aging and caregiving. Here is your host, Michelle Pope.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the virtual neighborhood. It is good to be with you. Last week was in Salt Lake City at a conference, and just really glad to be back with you. I was happy that we had a wonderful replay of everything that was happening, some of our previous guests that we've had on. So it's really great to be able to have those in the can. Thank you, Felicia, for making that happen. I really miss you guys when I'm not here. So it is so good to be here. So if you would just write in the chat, say good morning to each other. I've been having a little moment this morning. So I just want to thank you so much for joining Life is a Sacred Journey. Our guest, Dawn Renee, is in the virtual breakout room. So I'm going to bring her forward and admit her. And as I'm doing that, we'll tell you a little bit about her. Let me hit the admit button.
How are you?
I am good. You know, I was so excited that you were coming back. I really feel like so much time has gone by. We haven't had an opportunity to connect, but I was just listening to your music on Spotify. And
oh my gosh, yay!
I love your music. And I wish I had known that you did that too, so I could have been promoting some of that. I will definitely get Felicia to do that. It is beautiful, what I call soul music. You know, I know the music industry calls soul music based, you know, they take music and actually give it its titles based on the color of the people and all that gobbledygook. But soul music is any music. Like I was listening to some classical music the other morning and was just bawling my eyes out because I needed to cry. And so listening to the violins, and I was in my backyard just bubbling over, and it felt so good after. So soul music is what you and your dear love bring out to the world. And so I want people to know more about it. So I will share it more and more. And now I have you on my Spotify.
Oh my gosh. Oh, this actually like touches my heart more than you. A lot has happened since the last time we talked. And even at the beginning of this year, it was going a different direction than the direction I'm going right now. And it's all about the music. Mm-hmm. And it's all taking the music and doing exactly what you're talking about, bringing that soul and bringing everybody together in soul. Yes. And it's been so freeing and beautiful to witness everybody coming together. We've had some opportunities since September to play at festivals almost every weekend. Oh. And a lot of the people that are at the festivals are caregivers because that's their weekend off. You know, they're getting out and they're just letting spirit take over them and love the music. And so many kind people who just want to care for one another. We came to the Blue Ridge Mountains from Nashville. So now we're in Blue Ridge, Georgia.
Wow.
We're kind of staying in this triangle right now between Turtle Town, which is where Camp Reggae is, and Blue Ridge and Asheville. Okay. And tomorrow we're going to Greenville. We're going to be doing shows in Kingsport. We're going to be going all the way up to North Carolina. So we're kind of expanding out this whole mountainous region to bring our message and the soul. And we keep hearing this over and over. Everybody's like, what do you call this music? And we were just talking about this just a minute ago. It's soulful, funky island jam.
I was going to say there's a little island because, you know, I'm a reggae girl. So I can hear the Caribbean vibes in there and loving it. So I'm just excited for you. And I want to tell folks a little bit because I know it's been a while since we were together. But I'm just so thankful that you're in my heart, that you live in my heart, that I don't have to talk to you every day because I definitely know who you are as a person and what you bring to the caregiving arena. So all of you who have not met Dawn Renee, let me tell you just a little bit, and then we'll get into our dialogue because my heart is so happy. I even wore my heart sweater for you today.
Oh, I love it. That's beautiful.
Okay, that's for you.
I love that.
So Dawn Renee is a woman who is a being, because, I know that some of my millennials and XYZs and, really want me to be less gender, but I have to tell you that I am a woman who believes in the goddess of my womb. And so therefore I really applaud other women, and I really don't care what gender you choose to live into. I love you anyway, because humanity to me is humanity, and I don't judge. So bear with me, my millennials and XYZs, as I continue to learn more about what you are talking about when you speak of sexuality and genderism. And I think it's because you want a place. And I want you to know you have a place in my heart. So if I make a mistake with your pronouns and all that other stuff, forgive me. But no, I don't need those lessons, because I already love you. And you need to give that to somebody else who is already struggling with how to love people from LGBTQIA and people who are being brought into this universe. God brought you here. And so because God brought you here, I love you. So I don't need all that other stuff. I can't remember it anyway. So just forgive me. All right. All right. So Dawn Renee is my sister friend, a sister of the womb with me, who we spiritually believe in giving to others. We believe that we have no other purpose to do, but all of our gifts is to give them. And so Dawn Renee does that through being a singer-songwriter. She does that through her advocacy. And as you know, when she was last with us, she was caring for a friend that was in stage 4 ALS. So it's been a little bit of a moment. She also believes in writing. She has a journal that she writes and talks about transformation. And she talks about disease as a dis-ease, meaning not feeling good, that can be holistically now, listen to me, holistically brought around, maybe not to cure, but creating a lower level of tolerance of pain and acceptance of what is happening. I've learned in my journey, my spiritual journey, going to Bali, all these places, bringing in all these new ideas and thoughts and religions, that it is our mind that's jacking us up. Okay, it's the thing that makes racism. It's the thing that makes homophobia. It's the thing that makes ageism. It's ableism, all of it. It is our mind, the best gift outside of our heart. But it jacks us up because we allow bad gobbledygook to get into our blood, and then our love vibe gets all like wasted. It's like the wick in the candle. When the candle, it's gone too far and you haven't cut it, and then it's all nasty and yucky and you can't find the wick. That's what happens to our light when we bring in all that stuff. So Dawn Renee, beautiful human being, has been started her traveling caregiver, which means, I believe, and we're going to have her explain it more to you. But again, it is my honor and privilege to introduce to you new people who haven't met her yet, Dawn Renee. And I'm going to do something that I always like to do. In a good way. So that's my applause for you, my sister. I can't give it to you at a concert, but I could give it to you this morning. So
wow. What
tell
an honor
us.
to be back.
I love you back. I can't wait to actually be in your presence one day. I say that to
I know, right?
Yeah, I tell that to everyone that's on Life is a Sacred Journey, because the moments of being together with people that you just genuinely know that you
Yes.
were you genuinely know that you are on the universe, in the universe, because you're in the universe and I know you're in the universe and we're in the universe together is just such a joy. I've had that experience.
It is. I see you, so therefore you exist to me, and vice versa. It's so beautiful.
And you give that out. So tell our listening audience from all over the world, thank you all for coming to Life is a Sacred Journey this Friday morning or evening or afternoon, whatever it is where you are on this wonderful planet called Earth. Dawn Renee is a wonderful human being, and she's been doing caregiving, hands-on caregiving for how long now, Dawn Renee?
Collectively, probably 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I did it for 7 years, 24/7 a day, with my friend Anne, who had ALS.
I remember.
And we walked a 7-year journey together with ALS.
Has Anne passed over?
She did. She passed on February 22nd of 2021. Okay. So this year we had her anniversary celebration, and I did an awareness benefit for ALS again, and just trying to keep that fresh in their mind that that's something people are dealing with.
Yes. And in that 7 years that you were with Anne, I remember, just tell folks a little bit what you gave her and what she gave you in that sort of caregiving experience, because I think what I learned from you when I first met you was that we get caught up because the world teaches us to go into the doom and gloom. I'm not going to say we go black, because I also think that's just like such a racist thing. But
totally.
It's like we say things, it's like,
yeah,
we go black. But we go into, like in the Never Ending Story, we go into these empty places.
I love the Never Ending Story. I just saw it a month ago.
That's my favorite. I love
that.
Oh my God. See?
Belcour. Belcour's my favorite dragon.
Yes, of course. Don't you want one?
Yes, I do.
So when you went on that journey as a caregiver, what did she give you and what do you think you gave to her?
It's interesting because I went in it knowing that she needed help because she could not move her body from the neck down. So she needed somebody. So I knew that what was going to be asked of me was going to be very physical. It was going to be very demanding, but I was going to try to figure out how to navigate it to give her comfort. So for me, it was all about how can I bring her comfort while also helping her realize what she has to expand in every single day. So she doesn't get lost in the story that they're trying to tell us, because they would try to tell us the story. Well, she has ALS and, she's not going to last long. And the average lifespan is 1 year to 3 years. And I mean, there's all these stories. And so every single day it was like, how can I bring her comfort while also helping her to realize that she's still here existing and that we can make the most out of her existence by figuring out what we have to work with and then expanding from there. So it was that from me to her, trying to help give her that comfort. I have been in a bed myself for a month, and here she'd been in a bed for years and for 7 years. So for me, it was like, oh man, I would never want to feel left alone if I was in that position. I want her to know that I'm going to hold her hand. I'm not going to jump in the rabbit hole, but I'm going to hold her hand while we walk this, and I'm going to be there for whatever she needs me to be. What ended up happening was that she taught me a lot. In the beginning, there was the, we go through the stages of acceptance and understanding of where we are with things within our bodies and what we can do and what we can expand into. And there was a surrender that happened. And it was a gradual, it took 2 years for her and I to work through that process of the surrender. And the surrender was to let go, to having to control the situation at all, to just actually being who we are right now in this moment, expanding from there. And what can we do with that moment? She was actually teaching me what that meant, what it meant to be in that now moment, instead of like, oh, okay, well, we got to be at the doctor's tomorrow at 10, and then we're going to be at this thing at this time. And because sometimes that schedule was out the window, So we had planned a trip. We were taking her on a trip to get stem cells, and she got sick. On the day we were leaving, we ended up in the hospital for 10 days.
Oh,
So we didn't end up going on a vacation. So
wow.
what she taught me was that you have to surrender to the outcome. You have to surrender to what you think you have control over. And for me and myself, what that meant was I can't always be with her
Right,
when she's going through everything.
right.
I had to come to an acceptance that there was a part of the path and journey that she was going to walk without me. And I had to be okay with that. And I had to give into that so that I could give space to myself, because what had happened was my space was completely gone. I was 24/7 in it, in the trenches every single day. And it took to a place where I basically was physically ill again and had to dig myself out of that and not be away from her, because I didn't want to be away from her. But I had to remind myself, give yourself the time, the space, and surrender to the outcome. So there was a surrendering that was happening on both sides. And it was beautiful. And people say, oh, ALS is such a tragedy, it's so hard. Yes, it's hard, and yes, it's a tragedy, but it was beautiful too. And there was the beautiful part of it was learning how to exist and just to be, without what society thinks that you should be doing, without society tells you should be doing, without caring about any of it at all, actually, and actually living the reality that we were living in our own little world, in our little house with each other, and just focusing there, turning off the news. At one point, we stopped watching the news. We stopped. I told her, I said, it's too stressful. It created this avenue of stress every day, and I could see it physically manifesting in everybody. So I said, I only want love stories. Let's put TLC on and watch some love stories. Or there was
Love
another
it.
network that she liked to watch. It was all love stories, just cheesy love stories, one after the next. But that was a lot more pleasing, Or we would do meditations and we put Travel Channel on and let her visualize going places with her mind. We learned how to use our mind in a different way. We learned how to talk to each other in a different way, because she couldn't speak. She had to speak to me through a computer. And at the end, the last year and a half, it was really hard for her because it was tiring to have to look at this screen to spell out what you wanted to say. So it would get to the point where she would trigger certain buttons that would initiate a sentence that would trigger me to ask her questions. And then I started to learn how to read her telepathy wise to figure out what was going on. And so we started this in inner dialogue with one another. There was so much learning that went on, and it taught me that the human body is a lot more resilient than we give it credit. Every single second that we're here is a blessing. It is not a guarantee. And we don't walk around with an expiration date on ourselves. And just because a doctor gives you a diagnosis doesn't mean that you have an expiration date.
Nope.
What it actually means is, hey, your body is trying to tell you something and you need to listen to it. You've gotten too far away from yourself. You're moving too fast. You're trying to take care of so many things. You're busy. You've got this and that and this and that, and so much distraction and noise and disruption. And then you've got the environmental aspects of toxicities in foods and waters. And there's all these things. I'm an energetic person. I've come to realize that you have to manage the energy that's on the inside. And the way that you do that is by surrendering the outcome and by figuring out how to fill light energy into your body and staying happy and light and doing the things that bring you joy. Mm. So it was a lot. She's taught me so much. I have a book. I started writing a book with her before she passed, and it's going to be half her story and half my story. And I'm putting the whole thing together because there's so many synchronicities that have happened in nature. There's so many animals that have come to talk to me, literally giving me messages all the time. Mm-hmm. And to where I thought I was going crazy. But now it happens all the time.
Yep.
So I can't be crazy because it's happening all the time. It's actually even happening in the conversations I'm having with people. I'll be talking to somebody and they'll say something, and those words that they strung together only meant something to her, to Anne. And now all of a sudden Anne's in my conversation. Yep. Yep. So she also taught me that energy Energy is infinite. It keeps going, and energy stays. It just transforms. She's still here with us. There is no such thing as death. I mean, not in my world. I've witnessed it in such a way that the only thing I can say is that it's an energy transfer. The body just can no longer contain the light and the form anymore, because it's gotten too separated from the spirit and the soul, and you have to bring it back, and you've got to slow it down. And so ALS is probably one of the most debilitating diseases that you could get, because it cuts you off from the neck down. It forces you to sit. It forces you to stop. It forces you to take pause and recollect your energy and like figure out where the holes are.
Exactly. And
it's been mind blowing.
When you speak of that, it's also because you were there and accepting of that with her. And because even with folks here with Alzheimer's, from time to time, someone will say something to me where it indicates to me that they've already given up on that person, that they're not willing to reimagine a new relationship with an individual. And I'm like, oh my God, they could live another 15 years. You know that, right? And so you're just going to live in this space where you're pining for what they were, and you're not willing to move,
accept them for who they are.
And that's what
right now,
grief, right?
It's so true. And actually, I have family members right now that are dealing with a dementia, and I lost a grandmother to Alzheimer's. My husband lost his grandmother to Alzheimer's. But the same thing is, she lived for 17 years with it. And it was all about learning to not speak a story onto them.
Oh, I love that.
Don't speak a story onto somebody else. I'm sorry, but let me say it.
Yep.
That's spell work.
Yep.
And you are speaking, you are conjuring, you are putting a story and a picture, a frequency onto somebody. And our frequencies matter. Everything we speak, everything we feel, it matters. So the more that we can come to knowing that we have everything we need right here, and we just give out love, it's going to create a new relationship. It's going to create new bonds. Let the person be who they are. Like in relationship, we have to be in relationship with our significant others, and they're not the same all the time.
No.
They're changing. Matter of fact, I'm changing. We're all changing, because that's the deal. It's change, and with no expiration. And so why not take every single moment and just savor it? Because like, I look at this is so synchronistic that I get to speak with you again.
Yeah.
Because I love your message. It is my message. Everything you speak is what I feel. And so it's like this beautiful frequency of, hey, this is how we can expand together. We can expand with love. We're evolving spirits.
Yep.
There's no reason for war. There's no reason for fighting. There's no reason for control. Matter of fact, the fact that anybody thinks that they have control is a joke, because
it's a
huge joke.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, maybe you can fool yourself for a minute, but something else is going to come in and sideswipe you. And maybe you got tons of money, so you can throw money at it all day long, but it doesn't change the fact that things are going to change. It's just the way it is. And so to think that you can control it, you're crazy. You're delusional.
I know. On the way in this morning, somebody in California has won the Powerball lottery thing. Every once in a blue moon, I'll buy a lottery ticket, just because I have $1, which I normally don't carry money at all, because I don't believe in money. Actually, it's interesting. I've learned that it's not real. I've learned that it is something, it's a tool. And if you use it as a tool, then yes, you can purchase things. I bought airline tickets yesterday for my daughter and I to go to Disneyland. But at the end of the day, it's a tool. If it becomes the thing that you're motivated so on, then you actually and this is for me, folks, I'm not telling you how to behave. I'm just sharing with you. For me, it becomes the enemy. because I start to focus on, and I did, there was a point that I focused on, make all the money, make sure you have money in the bank. People will like you better because you're this or that or the other. And I never could keep it. Okay.
No, it runs right out.
It was gone, girl. It was gone. I was like, wee. And it's gonna make me cry, because the minute I understood that that's not what I needed to survive in this world, money has not been an issue for me at all. Doesn't mean I have $1 billion in the bank. No, it doesn't. But what it means is I don't go hungry. I have a roof over my head. I pay for my electricity. I'm surviving, and abundantly surviving. But it doesn't mean, if you said to me, Michelle, can I borrow $1 million? I'd have to tell you no, because I don't have it. But it means that I live abundantly and I lack for nothing. That is a paradigm that had to, what you're speaking of, Dawn Renee, I had to stop saying I didn't have too. I had to stop saying I was poor. I had to stop saying I was not successful. I had to
the story. It's a story.
It's the story that I was telling my heart, my brain, my purpose. And the minute I stopped telling that story to myself and creating new chapters on blank pages and allowing the world to fill it.
Yeah. And
then I just embrace it. Wow.
It's amazing. That's actually, it's funny you bring that up, because this year in, I guess we started moving in September. We did a festival in August, and then we hit the road in September to start doing a slew of festivals. We put everything in a 10 by 10 storage. We downsized to our SUV and camping, and brought our tent, and we have a car rack and all that. And we've been traveling and bringing our music and our message to everywhere we go. And it started off at a festival called Moving Forward. Oh. The festival was Moving Forward.
Can't believe it.
and that was in Lafayette, Georgia. And from that festival, it has been moving forward quite abundantly and unfolding in the moment, so to speak. And I have had to take a leap of faith, because we did this without having a calendar set up of knowing where we were going to go and what we were going to do. We just kept getting this message, Asheville, Asheville, Asheville. Everybody kept saying, Asheville, you guys need to go to Asheville. Well, we got to the Blue Ridge Mountains and fell in love with the Blue Ridge Mountains. And we have gone to Asheville too, and I love it there too. So we've just been bebopping around in all of these mountains, going from the Smoky Mountains to the Blue Ridge Mountains, over here, Cherokee, National Park, and singing and doing it abundantly and not worrying about what monies there is. Because like you said, when you stop looking at life like that and you look at it as an energetic exchange, I'm doing what I love to do. My husband and I write songs. We've been writing songs for 15 years. We've been doing caregiving the same, we've been doing them simultaneously. So a lot of our music is about the caregiving journey. It's about our reflections of ourselves. It's about our reflections of the experiences that we're going through and how we navigate through it. And it's all about taking a leap of faith and not worrying about what's going to happen next. Like even today, we planned to stay at this one place, but it looks like we're going to move on to another place. And so, but that's part of it, and we're singing everywhere we go, and we're spreading the message and the joy, and it just keeps coming in more and more, the more that we just allow it to. So that energetic exchange is, you do what you're good at, and then you're taken care of because you're doing what you're good at, because you're putting out energy of what you're good at. So you're going to get back the energy it needs to take care of it.
Yep.
You're putting it. So it's like this thing that just keeps filling it.
Yep. Yep. And we're not talking about The Secret and all stuff, guys. We're not, because I know some of you are out there thinking that right this second, because I just felt that vibration come through to me. So I know it.
Yeah. It was a good starting place.
Yeah, but again, the truth is everywhere. I keep trying to tell people, don't get stuck in one paradigm and think that that's everything that there is. You have to be a life learner of wisdom, a life learner of the arts, a life learner of these things. And every time you learn something new, you're going to eat a whole lot of meat and throw away a lot of bones. But the meat is the soul food. And so just look at everything from that experience. That doesn't mean, I told somebody the other day when I was telling them I was hanging out with my Buddhist friend, and they were like, oh, but I thought you were a Christian. Yeah, I'm a Christian, but I can hang out with Buddhists and Muslims and people and non-believers and Wiccans and all kinds of people. You know why? Because I know what ground I stand on.
That's right.
So you don't have to be all jacked up when you're around other people. And I'm not judging them. I don't waste my life energy.
No, because if you're judging them, you judge yourself.
Amen.
And you know, it's even in relationship, we talk about this all the time. I don't love my husband because I love him. I love him because I love myself.
Right.
It's such a
gosh, that's so fabulous.
Different way.
Say that again, Dawn, for any young woman or man out there right now, because you think you haven't found your person, right? You're out there. You think because the television has told you you're supposed to drag another person along with you with every phase of your life, and you don't have one. Dawn, tell them.
You have got to find yourself first. You've got to love yourself first. We have so many songs about loving ourselves first, because when you truly love yourself, and it's not selfish to love yourself, you were born to this earth in your body. This is the first responsibility and love that you were given. And if you can't reach inside your space inside yourself, and yes, there is a space inside yourself. And if you haven't found it yet, then I'd encourage you to spend some time alone and try to find that space inside of yourself where that little child is, that you can go down and grab their hand and say, I have you forever and always. And I'm always going to have you, because you're my best friend. You're my first love. You're what I came here for. And I'm going to take care of you. And I'm sorry that I haven't been good to you and I haven't been hanging out with you, but I love you and I see you now, and I'm going to go back down there and I'm going to grab you and pull you right out of that, because a lot of this disease that's happening is because we've stopped connecting to that inner child, because along the way we got hurt and we have a lot of pains that we're working through and a lot of traumas. But if you just reach down there and grab that child's hand and just hold on real tight and tell them how much you love them, that's you are your solution.
Yes. And you know, I a lot of people meet me and they think that what they see is who I have always been, and that's impossible. I'm continually growing, but what you just said resonates so much with me, because when I really went through counseling and to heal myself and to figure out what the heck was going on in my heart and soul, that I couldn't even remember why I kept feeling these things. That is exactly what my therapist said to me. They said, you need to go back and talk to that 5-year-old that got hurt way back. And when I did, and I embraced her, I saw her in my mind's eye. I visually saw her, almost like that movie Sybil, where she's talking to all of her thingies and they come out behind the tree and whatever. It wasn't that moment for me, but similar, where I said to her, first of all, I'm sorry you were hurt, but I want you to look up and see who you have become. And you are magnificently, wonderfully made. And I will carry you with me. You don't have to hide in the shadows of who I am. I will let you come out whenever you want to. And she does. She's the one that dances. She's the one that is excited all the time about new things. She's the one that grabs the lollipops that are free in the bowl at the restaurant. It's not this mature, self-actualized Michelle Pope that does that. It's the little Michelle Pope that does that and keeps me honest when I'm trying to be bigger in my booties than I'm supposed to be, and says, girl, shut up. Shut up. What you trying to do?
I know.
That's the little girl. And I love her, because without her, I would not be.
That's right. We wouldn't be without those children inside of us. We have another song called Now, Now, Now. We can't predict the future and we can't erase the past. Everything we need is right now. It's in this moment right here. Now, now, now. That's where it's at. And it's just so true. The more that we can focus where we are right here, right now. Somebody told me not too long ago, when you're working on a project, instead of thinking of the goal and where you're going, take one step at a time. What's the next best step that you can take, and stay focused on that next best step. Don't look past the next best step. Just do that next best step and then go from there.
Right. And that is what I needed to hear this morning, because I'm working on a project that it's taken me forever to get, because I've coined it a project.
Yep. You put an expectation.
What's a project? It's like, oh my God, who wants a project? Not me.
It needs to be fun.
But now this morning, when I worked on it a little bit, or when I embraced it a little bit, because I'm trying to change language too. I realize language is a big
It is.
problem that we have, and I have. And I began to look at it. I'm like, okay, let's spend a little bit more time on this part of the journey. And that actually, I was late leaving the house this morning because I ended up spending more time than I thought I was going to give it. So that, to me, is also your message to caregivers, right? Yeah. You're saying what? So talk about that a little bit, Dawn.
Well, bringing it all together, everything that you just said there, and then, oh shoot, there was something I was going to bring it all together with.
It'll come back.
It'll come back to me. Being in the now is not getting too far ahead of ourselves, because that's the thing with disease, is that we get so busy doing so many things, and we think we have to be in charge of so many things, and it has to be us. It can't be anybody else. We can't give ourselves permission to take care of ourselves because we've so much to do. So we overextend our spiritual self outside of ourselves. Our energetic being is going to be like a mile or two ahead of you, while your physical body is sitting back there going, hey, my knee kind of hurts, and I think I need a nap, but I might be hungry or thirsty, but I'm not quite sure. And, if you would just stop for 5 minutes and talk to me, we might be able to sort this out. And so it's all about figuring out how you can take inventory and stock and where you're at right here, right now. And then giving to yourself, making sure you're giving to yourself just as much as you're giving to somebody else. And when you do that, and you can bring back the pieces to your body, you can bring back that energy that's run off that way. Now, all of a sudden, the light is filling the form, and the form being your body, which is containing your light and your energy. And now all of a sudden you can say, okay, maybe I should take a nap. And that will help me heal up that part that's hurting a little bit, and I'll feel better when I wake. Or maybe I got to do some stretching. Maybe I need to do some yoga. Maybe I need to move. Maybe I need to just get some movement happening because I haven't moved. Maybe I need to drink some water because my body's dehydrated and I keep getting headaches, and I'm hungry, but no, I'm really thirsty, And then, maybe I need to go eat some really good high vibing food. And I say high vibing food because I like to look at food like this. Is the food I'm about to consume, did it come from a plant? Is it full of energy from the sun? And is it going to give me more light? Is it going to bring me a light body? So I look at it that way, because in my own healing journey, dealing with autoimmune and chronic fatigue and migraines and allergies and endometriosis and Lyme and blah, 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 I'm remission. That stuff's in remission. I am so managed now. But it's because I made this choice for myself. And everybody has to figure out what that is for themselves. What I determined my body needed to give me light, to stay in better form, to work and function better for me, what I needed to do, was to stay right here in this moment and figure out what my body needed. So after talking to the 5-year-old now every single day, I have to talk to myself and say, okay, self, what do we need today before we even get started? And let's make sure we take care of that before we do anything else, because usually what happens is if I don't take care of my stuff first, I get going taking care of everybody else's stuff, which is fine because I love taking care of everybody else's stuff too, right? Wow. But it doesn't give back to me. So then you have to continually remind yourself, come back to yourself, come back to center, take stock in yourself. What do I need? Am I hungry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? Do I need to take care of these things before I go and engage with anybody in the world? And once I have those little ducks in a row, now I can look at every moment as it's coming to me. And I'm not worried about, oh yeah, well, I'm going to go to dinner tonight, but that's about all I got on my schedule, and that might change. Yeah. Being able to ebb and flow with it. Oh, and language. I was going to tell you about language.
Yeah, that's because I had said words.
The positivity with the language. Okay, yeah. So for instance, I don't say good morning anymore. Okay. I am not mourning anything. I'm not mourning anything. So we say grand rising.
Oh, wow. Wow.
We say grand rising. That's much better.
Yes.
And it's just like the word awake. The word awake is a ceremony for somebody who's passed. Awake. I'm going to awake. So are you awake or are you sleeping? So here's language. These are terms, Yep. And I'm the same with you. I don't believe in categories. I don't think we should even, I think that for us, we should just accept each other as we are.
I'm so sick of it. I was at a place where they wanted me to put my pronouns. I'm like, I am not a pronoun.
Do you see me?
I'm a person.
I'm a person. Yeah. You're not labeling me with a pronoun. You're not going to label my age. You're not going to label my genetic makeup. Look, what you see is what you get. Do you like my energy?
And I think it's pretty fabulous, regardless, whoever. Like, I'm no different than the 81-year-old woman that I saw that's a fashionista. Girlfriend was decked, and I'm looking at her going, I want to get in your closet. I love you, but I'm not going, oh, she looks good because, for her age, she looks good. What the?
Yeah. No, everybody always, that's the first thing they ask me, how old are you? And I look at them, I say, I forgot.
I'm going to do that. Thank you for that.
And they're like, what do you mean you forgot? And I said, age. Who told us that story?
Somebody did. But
I am not living it anymore.
It was to measure us.
That's right. To create measurements.
Put us in all these systems.
Yep. Measurements.
And just like now we've got these poor little children having nervous breakdowns because we want them to read by the time they're 3. Who reads when they're 3? And if they do they really give a damn about what they just read? But you as the parent can go off and say, oh yes, my 3-year-old reads on a 2nd grade level. And then when they get to high school and they're losing their freaking minds, you're wondering what happened to Billy? Well, what happened to Billy was that you forced him to do something at 3 that he shouldn't have been able to do until he was about 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And we've got to stop this hierarchy of be this, be that, do this, do that, and let people live their natural rhythm of life and they will be successful.
Yeah, ask a child ever spend time with any children lately? It's been pretty, actually, it's very informative. Very. I purposefully will I'll volunteer to babysit my friends' kids because we want to take care of, we love hanging out with the kids. Me too. And the way that they talk and the stories that they tell and their expression, and they know what they want. They know what they want to do. They know what they want to eat. they'll tell you if they don't want to eat something, you
Right.
know, they're very like, no, I'm not interested in that. You could be giving them pizza and they're like, nah. And then I turn around and give them an apple and they're like, yeah, I want the apple. Like, they want the apple. Give them the apple.
Right.
You know?
Right.
It's funny because so bringing it all back full circle, coming back to realizing the surrender in ALS and being in a position of having to surrender all of your functionalities. The only thing you have left is your actual being. You're actually just being. That's all you can do is just be. So we're all born to just be. We're all born into just be in our bodies as we are. We all come in with certain energy frequencies that we're more in tune with, things that we're attracted to, things that we vibrate with.
Yeah.
So it's about helping one another figure out what makes each other vibrate and get that vibration and that feeling going. Because that feeling is, I feel that expansion. And when we sing our songs, we sing our songs, watching the room go from kind of, quiet and nobody's really laughing or smiling. About a couple songs in, I'm like, wow, people are laughing and smiling. And like about 4 or 5 songs in, somebody's slow dancing or kissing, and you're like, whoa, the energy shifted.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Because you tap into a frequency, a vibration where it rises and raises in our souls, because that's what we have a soul's purpose, to come back together. We all want the same thing. We all want, at least I believe we all want the same thing. We all want love. Yeah. We all want to feel accepted. We all want to feel like, we're here for a purpose and that we're not going to be forgotten. Yeah. And some people just have a funny way of going about it. But, we all want the same thing. So how do we help each other recognize those gifts and talents? If you see somebody drawing or painting or playing an instrument or creating something with sticks, do you encourage them because they're really good, or do you walk on by? I'm like, man, tell people they're doing a great job. Yeah. Tell them, feed their soul so that they can keep feeding into that beautiful love and give that to the world. If the more of us did that, the more of us there, I really feel like a massive healing would happen. There would be a massive healing happening.
And I think it's time. I think the world is crying out, not just the eco parts of the world. I too am an animal lover, and they come to my backyard abundantly. And all I have to do is sit, and the next thing I know, there's butterflies and blue jays, and
they're everywhere.
They're everywhere. And what I realize is that we are being asked to reconnect to our higher self. That in every situation, we're being asked to be better than we think we can be. And sometimes it hurts, right? I was just in a situation where I had to go very, 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 very high because the vibration was so low.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. The impact of that on me was a day of Sabbath where I turned off phone, everything. Yeah. And I watched 9 hours of people making cocktails on a show called The Drink Master. I've never seen it before in my life, but I thought, I was like, this is for me, because I don't care. I'm not really a drinker, but I love the way the drinks looked. I was like, yeah, this is for me. And came out of the space that I was in a very wonderful way. But if I had gone into the world after that, I'm not sure. Somebody could have pushed a button. Something could have pushed a button that would have created the part of self in me that gets angry, because there's a part of that. I have that. And I didn't want to be angry. I wanted to be able to find the right words to love myself through it. So I did. I just kind of did my blanket, did my dog, sat on my lap all day, and then came back out into the world ready to love again. We also need to know when we are toxic and take ourselves out of the equation.
Out of the equation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, one of my biggest challenges is when we just recently were in a situation too where the energy was uncomfortable low, very uncomfortable low. And we had to be there for an event to sing and all that. And So I went in and I just said, okay, I realize that this is where the energy is, but I don't have to be there. I don't have to bring myself to there. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean you're above it. It means that you're just like, that's that energy. That's not me. Mm-hmm. That's that energy. It's not me. And right. So it allowed me to stay on my solid ground with myself. And I still put out love, and I still shot out love to every single person that I met. And you just keep putting it out there, keep putting it out there. And we got up there and we did our show, and it was fantastic. We killed it. It was great. And I felt the energy shift after our show. I felt it. It was a complete tweak, you know, and when we left, it felt a lot lighter. Yeah. Than when we had arrived. Yeah. But so I understand what you're saying. And it's about not allowing that stuff that's coming at you for you to adopt it and like take it in. It's just saying it's okay for people to feel this way. It doesn't mean I have to. Exactly. As a matter of fact, it's a challenge. I'm going to challenge myself not to feel that way because I don't feel that way.
Right. And to be courageous to say, I don't feel that way. You know, yeah. I had to say that a couple of times, and I was okay with it. And I was okay with it because it is who I am. And I'm not any longer in my life going to fake the funk about who I am for other people to feel comfortable with my presence. It's just not going to happen. And in doing that, then I can embrace people with love. It doesn't mean I like them.
No, and what actually ended up happening is it opened up more space to allow those people to kind of come back into themselves a little bit more because they saw that I wasn't going to be a part of it. Right. Which made them think about it and feel about it a lot more. Exactly. And then when they came back around, it was different. They had changed a little bit. And not that you're looking for like that. It's just that if you're going to interact with people and you're expected to, like we have to be around a lot of different types of people. Mm-hmm. And so it's just about being able to discern how to protect yourself while you're navigating through those waters, and also giving yourself permission to be the light. Give yourself permission to be the light. Always. I want to tattoo it on my arm.
I know, right? I was thinking, oh my gosh. You're in my head. I was just thinking, just the minute you were talking, I'm like, I need to go see my tattoo person because I've had breakthrough moments over the last 3.5 weeks, really breakthrough moments where, you know, for me, it may not be for other people, but for me, it always means a tattoo. My tattoos have meaning. They are.
Me too.
Yeah, they're the windows and the doors of my sacred journey. So when I die, before my children cremate me, they'll see my whole story on my body.
On your body.
And we ain't talking about the wrinkles, because we like those too. I mean, those are expressions of. I was thinking about it the other day, looking in the mirror, Dawn, and I thought, wow, you know. I just heard a commercial where they say you're not supposed to see the person's laugh lines in their face. And I thought, okay, that's a scary person whose face is so tight that they look like they never laugh. Are you insane? What are you talking about?
Are you an alien?
But are we all striving for that in the media? So when I hear your story, and when I listen to your music, and when I look at your website, and it says traveling caregivers, which means you are able to go to a space and help people or a geography, for a lack of a better word, and really assist not just the family, but the individual in whatever transition they're going through, providing them care, but also providing them care for their heart, soul, and mind.
Yeah.
And so how do people get in touch with you? And is there like an assessment process or anything that they have to do in order to reach you? You know, if they feel they have a loved one that would really benefit from your love? There's
a couple of ways. So one of the ways is I do phone phone mentorships. So, and we could do that by the hour. And yes, I do an intake. Usually we do a couple of intakes so that I can understand the situation better. And then we start diving into the ways that we can help energetically infuse that person's life with the energy that they're missing, whatever that energy is. Everybody's got their own recipe. Everybody has their own story. And so I try to just let that story kind of unfold while I'm working with somebody. Mm-hmm. And it ends up being kind of like a mentorship. So I'll be on the phone and they'll just be telling me what they're dealing with that week. We might be dealing with menus. We might be dealing with schedules. We might be dealing with they're going to the doctor or the hospital and they want to be prepared before they walk in, and how to ask questions and to not feel like they can't ask a question, those kinds of things. I am mentoring. I've got actually a couple of ALS patients that I'm mentoring via the phone. I'm not taking anybody on one-on-one because we're traveling.
Right.
But we will, if we schedule it, we can travel to people's places and go do sit down in-person visits. And that's another great way for me to have that happen. So as we're passing through different areas, I can schedule those things. Most of it's been on the phone though lately. And then the other thing that's happened is with Dawn Loves Nash, Traveling Caregivers is putting Dawn Loves Nash out as going out to sing for caregivers and speaking events. And then also, like I said earlier, there's a lot of festivals that we're going to. And ironically, a lot of caregivers go to festivals, because it's a great way to decompress from everything that's been going on. And so getting in front of people and singing our messages of love and hope and encouragement, and this journey that we've been walking, and, just letting people know that they're not alone. They are not alone in this journey. I will hold your hand. If you want to write me on Facebook, on Instagram, I will answer. You can write me at Traveling Caregivers or at Dawn Loves Nash. And we're basically kind of marrying the two things now.
I love it.
And so the caregiving is that we're able to deliver the message in masses to more people via songs through our music. And then on the other hand, I'm still doing one-on-ones right now with people too, as we travel down the road. Who knows what that's going to turn into. But the other thing that we talked about, because at a couple of these festivals that I've gone to, I have met some really great caregivers who are solid people, and they know who they are. And we want to create something like a flash mob healing. So you can hire us to do a flash mob healing. And that's where you would have a troupe of us that would come in, and we would do a song, and then we would do free hugs. We would do hugs to everybody and go around and hold space and give hugs to people. In a flash mob healing kind of a scene to just bring love. Because, that's the whole thing. People can say, oh, love, love, love. I'm like, yeah, that's what we're made of.
But it's an action word too. Love is not something you say love and then that's it. Love means you're in action. It's a movement. It's a vibration.
I love you like I love myself. Because I love myself, I love you. I love you. I see me in you.
Yep.
I like in the way that we talk too, I feel it. And so, and it's happening more and more. And what's been actually beautiful is we're meeting a lot more people that are on that same frequency, that want to get this message out there. So there's a lot of people, there's a movement. I feel it happening. So,
well, we need to not let a year, or I don't even know, Felicia will tell me how long, because it didn't feel like that, but I know.
No, it's been like probably two.
Because it was at the beginning of the pandemic that we met each other and fell in love.
And that was 2020. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So no more of that. And
I agree.
No more of that. And if you are a person that's out there, something just dumped on in my heart very quickly. I am looking for someone to support my idea of taking my tiny house on the road and meeting caregivers and people and maybe hooking up with Dawn and I'm looking for someone to help me. Okay. So if you're out there and you want to follow us, there's a lot of shows on television. Okay. So I realize what I'm talking about is a higher vibration and it might make you feel a little weird, but I need your help. We need your support. I want to hook up with Dawn. I want to hook up with Carolyn Brent down in Florida. I want to hook up with Meg Logan. I want to hook up with every single person that has been on my podcast for the last 2 years, 3 years. And I want to do it live to the world so that people will understand that we are in movement. I can no longer just sit here and show up every Friday because I'm not moving. And while in fact, I am talking to people and I'm sharing with you, I will continue to share with you. But the time has come that I need to prepare for to be a part of this movement. And I feel the universe calling me into this space. And Dawn, Renee, just boom.
Right, it's amazing that you're talking about this because that's basically, we are right now trying to sell a park model so we can get a travel trailer to go behind our truck so we can stay on the road and keep moving from place to place to place. We have met people all the way from Florida, all the way up to Maryland, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, all the way over to Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia. We got like this route that's been coming together. And I love this idea. I think love it. I really cool.
It's going to be fabulous.
If you while we're talking about this, we have created a ministry. The Traveling Caregivers has now turned into a ministry. It's Traveling Caregivers Ministries. Okay. It's a self-supporting ministry, so it's a private ministry. So anybody that does donate to us, I would give them. They would get a letter from us if it's over $600. But we do have a ministry, so if you want to help support this ministry, so that we can keep spreading this message, you can find ways to do that on both of our websites now.
And please, if you have some extra dollars, and I've learned something very valuable. That every coin, every money, that the non-real stuff that we need to make purchases, right? Even if you give a person a $5 bill, I thought about this the other day because that's all I had. And that was all I was able to give because, again, I don't carry money. And the person looked at me with astonishment and they said, "Oh my God, I can do this, this, and this with it." I was like, wow. So don't think of it as I don't have anything to give, right? Think of it as this is what I can do and be okay with it, even if it's $1, whatever it is, because people can manifest it. That's what this person was telling me. This $5 was going to mean way more to them than it was in my pocket, keeping my hip warm, and that they were going to manifest it for 5 meals, right? $5, 5 meals. I, in my wildest dream, could not have thought of that. And when I connected with that individual, now that individual is a part of me. Every time I go by that corner, I look for that individual. I bring something extra so that I know if I see that individual, I am going to be willing, giving, sharing my abundance with that person. That's what this journey is all about. It is not about judging why that person got there. Yes, this person is addicted to all kinds of crap, okay? But something broke him.
Yep.
Another human broke him. I'm just going to call it, people, because we that's how we walk around. We crash into each other, breaking each other up, and then we point finger at each other after the fact.
Yeah.
So you hear about the Traveling Caregiver Ministry. If you can afford, tis the season for giving. That's a logo, right? That's a logo. So please, reach out. But if you also need mentoring, or you need, you're a caregiver who needs someone that you can say, and not go, ooh, why is she acting like that? No, caregiving is hard. Okay? Nobody comes on this planet understanding caregiving, parenting, any of those things where we have to give to another person. So anywhere along the way that you can call on Dawn Renee and Traveling Caregivers Ministries. And again, it's a faith-based ministry empowering self-love, hope, light, music, and she has support resources and what I love, recipes.
Oh, I've got a recipe book. It's coming out, a sweet potato recipe book. I just finished it, so it'll be available soon. I just got to get it up on the site.
Well, when you get it up on the site, I will be one of your first purchases because sweet potatoes, I'm going to tell you this quick fact, guys.
Woo.
Sweet potatoes are very good for the skin.
Oh, yeah.
The belly. And they have so many nutrients and amino acids. And if you bake those puppies, ow! And put some butter, not margarine, I can't believe it's not butter, all that crap. Don't eat that crap. Eat butter. It's okay. You just don't sit and eat a whole stick, okay?
Irish Gold is good. Carry Irish Gold.
Oh, that's really good. Put it in there. I love that. Put it in and smell it bake. Bring it out and eat the whole thing because the skin is fiber. Hello. Yep. You know what? You're going to buy that cookbook and you're going to send it out to other people because a sweet potato is a health food. Okay? It really
Absolutely. Is. Sweet potato saved my life. I don't know what I would do without sweet potatoes.
We love sweet potatoes.
I love them.
And if you have a sweet tooth, like Michelle Pope, and I'm trying to not eat sugar, right? Whenever that happens, I pop a sweet potato in, eat it, and that sugar fit, I'm done. I don't even need it anymore. So all these little things you can do as a caregiver to help your caregiving experience, go to Traveling Caregivers Ministry. The website is easy to find. It'll be in the link below. Say, hey, Dawn, how you doing? Send her out some love and let her know that you watched Life is a Sacred Journey. And because of that, she's a part of your life. And you know what? We all are in this together for real, for real, for real. Not a slogan, not that, because that crap never lasts, okay? These slogans, Black Lives Matter, all these slogans, we say them and we march to them and then we forget, okay? You give us a good 9 months and we done forgotten we're on to the next thing. Be the change, people. Come on. I'm waiting for you on the other side. Damn it.
Remember who you are.
I'm waiting. I keep having hope for all of us that we are going to grow into our better selves. And unfortunately, I get into situations where I see we still are just swimming through shit. I'm going to say it.
So we have to
be is now.
Be the light.
Let's be the light that we need to be, and let's be more loving and caring and to ourselves first, and so that we can be that for others. Dawn Renee, you are an amazing light to me. I am so thankful that you said yes to come back to Life is a Sacred Journey.
I'm so blessed and grateful to be here with you. It's an honor. I love talking to you, and I love everything that you're doing. I really do.
We need to do it again, and I'm going to see you on the road. Somebody's going to reach out to one of us.
Oh yeah,
there's going to be something. And we're going to make this happen. When you see me coming up the road in a little tiny house, it's being built as we speak, slowly, because I'm throwing money at it slowly.
Yeah.
But when you see it, you're going to say, there comes my sister friend, Michelle Pope.
You're gonna join the caravan. See, I got
and we're gonna be on the caravan.
Where all of our friends are getting little homes that they can do mobile. I've got a guy who's bringing a food truck so he can do good food for everybody. We've got a guy bringing the apothecary. We've got somebody bringing some other stuff. Everybody's gonna come and just follow us as we go.
And then we're going to share it with all of you because we know that life is a sacred journey. It is a sacred journey. I didn't choose it as a slogan. I chose it because I believe it. I chose it because I know it. I chose it because I want you to know it. That's it. I'm not here for anything else other than to share that. So before we leave, Dawn, hold on one more minute. 988 is the suicide hotline number. 1-800-273-8255. 988. Do not do it.
I love you. We love you.
We love you. And you matter. And you have something that no one else has. That when you find out what it is and you work with other people that will nurture that pain and help you to understand why you have that pain, oh, I'm telling you, baby, you're going to be marvelous. So pick up the phone, 988. There's somebody there who will listen, because I know that's been an issue. 1-800-273-8255, and then you will be able to live a glorious life. Will you hurt along the way? Yes, you will. Yes, you will, because this journey has hurt. But there will be people out there that will hug you and love you through whatever crisis you're going through. So please don't give up. Don't give up. You matter to us. All right, Life is a Sacred Journey family. Wherever you are, near or far, you're always near to my heart. And please say thank you to Dawn Renee in the chat. Let her know that you enjoyed this podcast. Go to Traveling Caregivers and let them know that you love this podcast. Let them know that you love the work that they're doing. Support them if you can. And if you can't support them financially, support them with clean and wonderful thoughts, because those things are very important too. So absolutely. I will see you next week. Life is a Sacred Journey family. Have a wonderful, I forgot. Today is Veterans Day, okay? And I'm not a woman of war, but I also know that there have been people who have put their lives on the line for me to sit in this seat. So if you are a veteran out there, thank you. Thank you for the sacrifice. Thank you to your family for the sacrifice. If you are a veteran that has already gone on, thank you so much for what you sacrificed for the rest of us, and to your family for having to grieve your loss for what you did for the world. And so happy Veterans Day, if there's any such thing. I hate that kind of stuff because I don't know if it can be happy. But at the end of the day, we love our veterans and we need to do better by them. Okay. All right. I think I've done enough. Hug a tree, hug a cat. Have a good day. You're loved. Bye.